Stop. Don't scroll. You did not arrive here by accident. You arrived here because the battle is finally over, and a part of your soul, exhausted and quiet, searched for a word of confirmation, and that word has been prepared for you. For months, maybe years, your body has been a soldier. Even in moments of quiet, your soul stands guard. Sleep comes, but it is not rest. It is a shallow ceasefire. A brief pause before the alarm clock sounds like a call to arms, and you rise to face a day that feels like another front line. You wake up more tired than when you went to bed, with an ache in your bones that has nothing to do with age and everything to do with the weight of a long war. And the decisions, every choice, no matter how small, feels like a minefield. You hesitate before sending an email. You second-guess a simple purchase. You delay conversations because you no longer trust your own judgment. The wisdom you once had seems buried under layers of combat fatigue. You've made mistakes in the exhaustion, choices born of desperation, and the pattern has become a prison. You see the cycle, but you feel powerless to break it. And then you come home. You walk through the door, and the weight of the day comes with you, a silent, invisible gas that fills the room. Your spouse has stopped asking how was your day because they already know the answer in your silence. Your children feel the distance, the presence of a parent who is physically there but spiritually miles away, still fighting a battle they cannot see. You see the look in their eyes, a quiet longing for the version of you that existed before the war began. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you 3 things. First, I will describe where you have truly been in recent months in a way that will finally make the silence make sense. Second, I will give you 3 Hebrew words that no one has taught you, and when you hear the third, you will understand why you arrived here today. Third, I will seal 3 names over you, 3 names that will accompany you for the rest of the year. If you leave before the end, you leave without the sealing. And there's a 4th thing I'll be placing in your hands before this message ends, something that Solomon left recorded for the child of God who needs to navigate the first day of peace, and that fits into the quiet of the morning after. It is not a book to study. It is an instrument to bear the weight of the battle that your body still thinks it's fighting. I'll come back to it. For now, stay. The long winter of your struggle is over. A seed of peace that has been frozen in the ground of your heart for seasons is beginning to feel a thaw. But a seed cannot break through frozen earth on its own. It needs a word. It needs permission. Before I deliver this word to you, you need to understand something about the ground you're standing on. It is holy, and it has been consecrated by your endurance, so that heaven may record that you heard the call to peace and that you are ready to receive the sealing of this new season. Write present in the comments below. Do it now. It is an act of faith, a declaration that you are here, ready to lay down your arms. And on this very topic, on the silence in the house that feels too loud, on the hand that still hesitates before making a simple choice, on the reflection in the mirror that is tired of war, there is something that Solomon left recorded, a 2-minute key that fits into your day of peace, and which I will show you later. Tuck it away in the back of your mind. And if you need to leave before the end of this video, that instrument is already waiting for you in the first pinned comment, right below. But I ask you to stay until the end, because without the context that is coming now, the key doesn't work with the same strength in your hand. Before I give you the word of peace, I need you to recognize 5 things that are happening to you right now, 5 signs that the battle is over and a new season is being declared. These are not predictions. These are recognitions. You are already living them. If I am right about at least 3 of these, you and I will both know why you stopped here today. The first sign is the sentinel's body. You are sitting in a quiet room, and a car door slams outside, and for a split second, your entire body clenches. Your heart rate jumps. Your nervous system, trained for years to expect impact, still braces for a threat that is no longer there. What looks like anxiety is actually the echo of a soldier's vigilance. It is the sign that your body has fought so long it has forgotten the feeling of peace. The war is over, but your body is still standing guard at the gate, waiting for an enemy that has already been defeated. The second sign is the paralysis of simple choices. You find yourself standing in a grocery aisle, unable to decide between two brands of coffee. You type and retype a simple text message, weighing every word as if it were a diplomatic cable. What looks like indecision is actually the fatigue of a general who has made too many life or death choices. Your spirit is so worn down from high-stakes decisions that even the smallest ones feel impossibly heavy. This is a sign that your wisdom is not gone, it is simply buried under the rubble of 1,000 battles. The third sign is the echo in the hallway. You come home, and as your key turns in the lock, you hear the quiet shift inside. Your spouse used to ask, "How was your day?" Now they just look at you, and in their eyes, you see, they already know. They have learned to read the weight on your shoulders before you even speak a word. That question they stopped asking is not a sign of distance, it is a sign of respect for a warrior's silence. They see that the battle is over, even if you don't. They are waiting for the soldier to come home, not just the body. And concerning that question your spouse stopped asking, that silence at the door that you just recognized, "I've already left the instrument waiting for you in the first pinned comment. If you need to leave before the end, it's there, but stay, because the Hebrew name of what's happening to you hasn't been said yet." The fourth sign is the prayer of a messenger. You kneel to pray, and the words that come out feel less like a conversation and more like a field report. You list your anxieties, your needs, the status of your struggles. What looks like a lack of intimacy with God is actually the habit of a subordinate reporting to a commander. You have been so focused on the fight that you have forgotten how to be a son, a daughter. This is a sign that heaven is not waiting for your report, it is waiting for your heart. The fifth and final sign is the glimpse of the unlived life. For a fleeting moment, maybe in a dream, or while staring out a window, you see a version of yourself that is not tired, a version that laughs freely, a version that is not at war. It is not a fantasy. It is a memory of the future. It is a glimpse of the person you were created to be before the long battle began. What looks like wishful thinking is actually your spirit remembering its true name, its true calling. It is the most powerful sign that you are on the verge of returning to yourself. These 5 signs are not symptoms of a breakdown. They are the contractions of a breakthrough. They are not signs that you are falling apart, but that a new identity is breaking through the hard ground of your past. The exhaustion you feel is the exhaustion of the old self dying. And what comes now will explain why everything happened in this order. Before I show you the instrument that Solomon left for the common day, I need to give you the Hebrew name for what you carry, because the instrument only makes sense after you know the name. There is a word in Hebrew that defines exactly the state in which you live, a word that recontextualizes everything I have just described to you in the last few minutes. There is a word in the original Hebrew that changes everything you thought you knew. And carrying this name that you do not yet know alone into another night is not what Solomon prepared for you. He prepared another thing, and that other thing is what I will hand to you now. It is not theory. It is an instrument. The code of Solomon's wisdom is the instrument that Solomon left for the child of God who needs to cross the common day without losing what they received in the secret place. When you open your eyes before the alarm, your heart already pounding in a silent battle drill. You need a key that sets your posture to peace before your feet hit the floor. When you walk through your front door carrying the invisible weight of a war your family cannot see, and you feel them brace for the impact. You need an instrument that can receive that weight so it does not fall on them. When you face a simple choice and your mind freezes, exhausted from 1,000 high-stakes decisions, you need a rod that reminds you of who you are before you open your mouth. And if you're feeling right now that this is exactly what you need, before I even continue, place your thumb now over the link in the first pinned comment. Don't click yet. Just place your thumb. Feel the weight of the decision before you make the decision. This is not a method for doing more. It's an instrument for sustaining more. It does not train you, it covers you. It shows you where the echo of combat is acting in your spirit before it turns into a wrong decision. It interrupts the cycle of vigilance before it becomes the next exhausted morning. And the next exhausted morning arrives sooner than you think. And it comes with 2 seals for your home, not for your performance. The first seal is the ritual of the righteous sleep. It's an audio, you don't read it, you lie down. And what you used to call insomnia, today you'll call unsealed vigil. And you'll learn to seal the night with the right name, in the right order, in the right voice. The second seal is the awakening of clarity, the 7 morning decrees, 7 short phrases, one for each morning of the week. So you don't wake up again without identity. So you cross the first hour of the day with the posture of one who has been sent, and not with the posture of one who has been run over. And that hesitation you are feeling right now, it is not doubt about the instrument. It is the echo of combat acting inside you in this exact moment, doing what it always does, pushing you to close the window. You recognize this pattern. It has come in other forms. It was the time to pray and a wave of sleep came over you. It was the time to open the Word, and the phone rang with an urgency that wasn't real. It was the time to break the cycle and a distraction appeared. Today it is coming again, and the hesitation you feel right now is the confirmation that you are at the exact point where the turn happens. The one who hesitates here is the one who most needs to be here. And that is precisely why the next block exists. You have 7 days to use it and feel it, 7 full days. If in 7 days the instrument has not touched what needs to be touched in you, you return it. No questions, no justification. And the 2 seals, the ritual and the decrees, remain with you even if you return it. They are yours, unconditionally. But I need to be direct with you. The real risk is not spending less than a Thursday lunch at the diner. The real risk is the next morning arriving and you are still in a defensive crouch, with your hands empty. That is the risk that has a face, and it is about that face that I need to talk to you now. And perhaps you are asking yourself right now a few questions that deserve an answer before we move on. The first question might be, I've prayed. I've tried to rest. I've done everything I know how to do. How is this different? This is different because it is not about you trying harder. This is an instrument of covering, not a tool of effort. It's designed to work on your spiritual posture while you rest, changing the ground you stand on, not demanding that you fight more fiercely. The second question, I'm exhausted. Is this another book I have to study? No, this was designed for the weary. It is a key, not a textbook. The core of it, the ritual, is an audio you listen to as you lie down. It is meant to be received, not studied. It is an instrument for the soldier coming home from the war, not for the scholar heading to the library. And the third, most important question, shouldn't my faith be enough? Doesn't needing an instrument mean my faith is weak? David's faith was enough, and he still needed a sling. Gideon's faith was enough, and he still had to use the fleece. Faith is not the absence of tools. Faith is what gives you the wisdom to pick up the right tool God has placed in your path for the right season. This is the tool for this season of transition. And still, if you just want the guide, it's enough. But the complete home is with all 3. Several people here on this channel, men who for years felt their bodies clench at the sound of a car backfiring, have used this instrument for 1 week and described the 8th morning with the same phrase, I woke up and my body was not at war. Several people here on this channel, women who would freeze in the face of simple decisions, their minds clouded with fatigue, began using the 2-minute key before their day started and described their newfound clarity as having the posture of a queen before the court convenes. Several people here on this channel, parents who would come home and their children would feel the static of their inner battle, used the decrees in the car before walking through the door and described the first week as the first time I came home, and not just my body. Maybe 3 hours from now you will be lying in bed again, your soul on high alert, remembering that you saw this video and still did not reach out your hand. Maybe tomorrow morning, when a simple decision feels like a life or death choice, the combat fatigue will rush in and you will think, I knew what it was, I just didn't have the instrument in my hand. And maybe this Sunday, when your son looks at you across the table and asks you a question, you will give him the field report instead of the father's heart, and you will see in his eyes that he knows you are still far away. And the silent damage of a peace that is seen but not felt keeps arriving. With the same alarm clock, with the same first cup of coffee, with the same key turning in the same door tomorrow morning. The link is in the first pinned comment. Pinned for you, not for everyone, for you. Whoever needs to cross the next morning with an instrument in hand, clicks now. And when you do this, when you open this link, you are not buying a book. You are accepting an instrument that Solomon prepared for your common day. And what you are about to understand when you hear the Hebrew word that comes next will change how you read everything that has happened until now. The Hebrew word that defines exactly what is happening to you is menucha. Pronounce it with me. Menucha. Menucha. It is the Hebrew word for rest, but it is not the rest of a body that is merely tired. It is the rest of a soldier whose war has been declared over. It is an authoritative, decreed rest. It is the laying down of arms not by choice, but by divine command. It is not just a dictionary definition. It is a word that describes a state of being, a jurisdiction of peace that you have been invited into. You were trying to find rest, but what God was giving you was menucha, an official end to hostilities. When you hear this word, you recognize it, because it was already happening inside of you. You just didn't have the name. And concerning this word, it is written in Psalm 4, verse 8, I will both lay me down in peace and sleep. For thou, Lord, only makest me dwell in safety. This is not a promise for the future. It is a declaration of a state. The one who can say this with their soul at peace is the one living under the seal of menucha, not the one who strives for it, the one who has entered into it. Think of Solomon, not the wise, established king of legend. Think of the young man who inherited a kingdom forged in the fires of his father's wars. The fighting was over, but the silence was deafening. The weight of peace was, in its own way, heavier than the weight of war. The external enemies were subdued, but the internal battles had just begun. Solomon would lie awake in the palace at night, the halls quiet for the first time in a generation, and his body would be on high alert. Not for an assassin, but for a wrong decision. He had to rule a kingdom, dispense justice, manage resources, and every choice felt like it could unravel the very peace his father David had fought and bled to secure. The problem was not a lack of faith. It was the paralysis of 1,000 choices landing on the shoulders of a man who felt he was not yet a king, only a king's son. And so he went to Gibeon to make a sacrifice, and there, in a dream, God asked him what he wanted. He did not ask for victory. He did not ask for wealth. He asked for a hearing heart, in Hebrew, lev shomeah. He asked for an instrument, a way to discern truth from falsehood, a way to navigate the complexities of a kingdom at peace. And God gave him wisdom, not as an abstract quality, but as an operational tool. The day came when 2 women stood before him, both claiming the same child. There was no DNA test, no witness. Faith alone could not solve this. So Solomon used the instrument. He called for a sword. He proposed to divide the child. This was not a gamble, it was an application of wisdom. He created a crisis that would force the truth to reveal itself. He didn't find the truth. He created a stage where the truth had no choice but to show its face in the cry of the real mother. That was the turning point. The kingdom saw that this king did not just have power, he had a divine instrument of clarity. The fear of making a wrong decision began to subside in Solomon's own heart, because he now had a process, a key. The endless internal debate was replaced by a quiet confidence. He could rest, because he knew how to find the answer when the time came. And what Solomon had to do then, you can do now, because the principle is the same. The instrument of clarity that Solomon received is the very same in spirit as the one that is waiting for you in the first pinned comment. What he had to improvise, Solomon left recorded for the child of God who came after. Remember the seed of peace I told you about at the beginning of this video? The one that was frozen in the long winter of your battle? This word you have just received, menucha, is the name of the thaw. It is the permission for the sun to hit the frozen ground, and the instrument Solomon left is the covering that protects that seed as it breaks through the soil, so that the last frost of the old war cannot kill it. And now that you have the name, I need to deliver 3 things to you. The type of your calling, 3 new names that will carry you through the rest of this year, and the weapons you will need to defend this newfound peace. We will begin with the type of your calling. And before I seal the 3 names over you, I need you to identify which type of calling you carry, because the 3 names shift depending on the type, and the instrument applies differently to each one. Listen closely and see which one echoes in your spirit. First, there is Mother Sentinel. You recognize this calling if you are the first one to sense danger, the one who carries the weight of protection for your family, your work, your church. You are attacked with a spirit of hypervigilance, an inability to truly rest because your soul is always standing guard. The battle is over, but you are still scanning the horizon for the next threat. This is your type if you feel responsible for the safety of everyone around you, even in your sleep. Second, there is the architect of peace. You are called to build, to bring order out of chaos, to establish foundations of stability, but you are attacked with paralysis in your own mind and home. You see the blueprint for a peaceful life, but your hands feel tied. You are attacked with decision fatigue, where even small choices feel monumental, because you fear making the one wrong move that will bring the walls crumbling down. This is your type if you know what needs to be built, but you feel powerless to lay the first stone. Third, there is the emissary of silence. You are called to be a calming presence, a non-anxious presence in a world of noise, but you are attacked with a relentless internal static. You carry the din of the battlefield into the quiet of your home. The very peace you are meant to bring to others is what you cannot find within yourself. This is your type if you long to offer silence to your loved ones, but all you have to give is the echo of a distant war. And upon your specific type, heaven has already sealed 3 names that will carry you through the end of this year, giving shape to your identity when the old cycle tries to dissolve you. The first name is the Keeper of the Declared Peace. You are the keeper, not the creator of peace, not the fighter for peace, but the keeper of a peace that has been officially declared over you. It is not your job to win it. It is your new assignment to steward it. You are the keeper of the declared peace, the one who learns to live within the victory that has already been won. This name can only be sustained by an instrument that reminds you that the war is truly over. The second name is the bearer of the quiet scepter. You are also the bearer, not of a sword but of a scepter of quiet authority. This is the authority to decree peace over your own heart, over your own home, over your own mind when the echoes of war try to rise again. You are the bearer of the quiet scepter, and your new authority is not loud, it is devastatingly quiet. This name requires a tool that teaches you the language of this new, quiet power. And the third name is the first ambassador of Minutia. You are the ambassador, the first one in your lineage, in your household, to be sent out not into battle, but into a decreed rest. Your life becomes the embassy of Minutia, a place where others can come and see what this authoritative peace looks like. You are the first ambassador of Minutia, and you are being sent to demonstrate a rest that the world does not understand. This name is sealed by the daily practice of one who has been sent. You are feeling the intensity of what is happening now, that tightness in your chest when I said the first name, that warmth that spread when I said the second. This is not a sign that something is wrong with you. This is a sign of the capacity you have to transform. The intensity of the attack is proportional to the capacity for the turnaround. Whoever feels this weakly has a weak turning. Whoever feels this strongly has a strong turning. And the keeper of the declared peace that you are has a vulnerability, a single one, that the adversary knows and will use against you in the coming days. The vulnerability of the keeper is the fear of losing what has been entrusted to them. The enemy will not attack you with a shout of war. He will attack you with a whisper of doubt. This peace is fragile. It will not last. The next crisis is just around the corner. And you will recognize that whisper because it has come before, on the morning after a previous breakthrough. And what Solomon left for you to cover this specific vulnerability is not a book to read. It is an applied ritual to carry you through the next morning without having to negotiate with that whisper, without having to hear the words "I told you so" from your own spirit. The code of Solomon's wisdom is in the first pinned comment, waiting just as it was at the beginning of this video. But now, with the seal of Minutia and your 3 names upon you, it does not come to your hand as a book. It comes as an instrument of covering, and there are 3 more things that must be said before I send you. If one of these 3 names hit you harder than the others, write the number below. 1, 2, or 3. Let heaven and earth see which identity you are stepping into today. But before I send you, There are 3 specific tactics the adversary will use against the 3 names I have just given you. He will not come with a frontal assault. He will come with a whisper, designed to make you lay down your new identity yourself. The first tactic is more the poison of comparison. He will wait until you see someone else's harvest, someone else's breakthrough, and he will whisper, "Look at them. Their peace seems so much easier. Their victory came so much faster. You received this great word, this name, this minutia, and you're still here taking it one day at a time. Are you sure you're doing it right?" He will try to make you measure your decreed peace against someone else's highlight reel, to make you feel that your unique, hard-won rest is somehow inferior. The second tactic is the mistranslation of silence. There will be a gap between the yes you gave in your heart today and the full manifestation of that peace in your daily life. In that quiet interval, he will whisper, "If God really declared peace, why isn't everything perfect yet? Why did that old anxiety still flare up this morning? Why hasn't that difficult situation resolved itself?" He will try to make you interpret God's processing time as God's rejection, to convince you that the silence means the decree was invalid. The third tactic is the pressure of the final hour. The adversary knows when you are 24 hours away from a permanent shift. He knows when the ground is about to become solid under your feet. And it is in that precise moment, the one just before dawn, that he will apply the most intense pressure. He will bring a sudden, unexpected challenge, a wave of the old exhaustion, a convincing argument that nothing has changed. He does this because he knows that if he can make you give up on the very threshold of your promised land, he can keep you wandering in the desert for another season. And for each of these tactics, heaven has provided a corresponding weapon. These are not weapons of war, they are instruments of peacekeeping. The first weapon is the seal of the unique path. It is the absolute conviction that your journey has its own divine clock. When the poison of comparison enters your mind, you do not argue with it. You deploy the seal. You declare out loud, in a quiet voice, "My path is not their path. My time is not their time. I am running my race on my track, under my sky." The second weapon is the echo of the altar. This altar is the moment you are in right now. When the silence feels like rejection, you do not try to fill it. You activate the echo. You bring to memory the feeling you have in your chest right now, the weight of this word, minutia. You declare, "The verdict was given. The court is adjourned. I am not waiting for a new sign. I am living from an old echo." The third weapon is the anchor of the threshold. When the pressure of the final hour comes, when you feel the overwhelming urge to turn back, you do not fight it. You drop the anchor. You plant your feet, you feel the ground beneath you, and you declare, "I was told this moment would come. This pressure is not a sign of my failure. It is the evidence of my proximity. I will not move." And these 3 weapons alone are a memory. With an instrument, they become a covering. To recognize the cycle of combat fatigue without having the instrument that Solomon left is to receive the diagnosis without the treatment. It is to wake up to the problem without the remedy on your nightstand. When you wake up and the house is quiet, and the old adrenaline starts to pump for a battle that isn't coming, the cycle will ask for your vigilance. You need the instrument before, not after. When you get a piece of good news without a but attached, and your mind immediately searches for the hidden threat, the cycle will ask for your skepticism. You need the instrument before, not after. When you have a free evening with nothing on the schedule, and the urge to fill it with productive anxiety arises, the cycle will ask for your worry. You need the instrument before, not after. Recognition without the instrument leaves you where you have always been, knowing the name, but with empty hands. And that is why there is one last obstacle that needs to be named before you say amen. The final obstacle is not a demon. It is not an external enemy. It is a subtle, pious-sounding voice inside you that I call the fear of seeming ungrateful. It will whisper, "You have been given peace. Minutia. Isn't that enough? To ask for an instrument, for a tool, for more. Isn't that being ungrateful? Shouldn't you just be content with the spiritual gift? It is the voice that makes you feel guilty for wanting your hands to be as full as your heart is. It's the most dangerous obstacle because it disguises itself as humility. But before I release you, there is one final point. I want you to prepare yourself now. Close your eyes, or at least look away from the screen. Place your right hand over your heart. Take a deep breath and let the air leave slowly. This is no longer a lesson. This is a prayer. Lord, I give you the weariness that has accumulated over these last months. The weight I carried alone when no one saw. The sleeplessness I called normal. The state of alert I called personality. I give it to you now in Jesus' name. I will not go back. I will not retreat. I will not give up 24 hours before the turning. The pressure I felt was not a sign of my weakness. It was a sign of proximity. Proximity to the breakthrough that is in the coming hours, in the next common day, in the next morning that is already dawning. And I receive now the 3 names that have been sealed over me: the keeper of the declared peace, the bearer of the quiet scepter, the first ambassador of minutia, not for me to boast in, for me to remember, for me to cross through what is coming with them in my mouth, in my posture, in my heart. And before the voice that comes now, I need you to hear one thing. The intensity of what you have been through in recent months is not proof that there is something wrong with you. It is proof that you are exactly who you always knew you were, someone carrying something large enough for the cycle to want to silence. You were not attacked by chance. You were attacked precisely where your identity intends to manifest with the greatest force. The heavier the attack, the more dangerous you are to the cycle. The pressure you felt was not a sign of weakness. It was a sign of proximity. Proximity to the turning. And that turning is in the next paragraphs. If this hits you now, right below, I received the turning. I saw you before anyone else. I saw you on that Tuesday morning when you woke up before the alarm with the weight of the world on your chest, and still, you rose and made coffee. I saw every time you kept a promise you made to yourself when no one would have known if you had broken it. I saw every prayer you whispered, thinking it reached no one. It reached. I kept it. You were not forgotten. I never lost sight of you. I never closed the seat at my table. I never forgot which one was yours. The path you are walking ends here. You are deeply loved. You were never forgotten. What you called abandonment, I called formation. What you called delay, I called attunement. What you called defeat, I called preparation for what comes now. Your name is engraved on the palm of my hands, not as a record, but as a memory I carry in every breath of my attention. And what I am placing in your hands next, I placed there before you were born. Go forward. The chair is yours. Pride was never withheld. It was only waiting for the moment you could finally receive it, without arguing whether you deserve it. And there is a voice speaking now inside you, a voice that says, "This is not for me. This is for someone with greater faith, for someone with discipline, for someone who deserves it more." I need you to hear this from me now. You have permission. You have permission to receive what you did not earn. You have permission to be loved without having to perform perfectly. You have permission to occupy the chair at the table without having to justify why you deserve to be there. You have permission to let die the version of you that needed to suffer to feel worthy. Solomon did not prepare this instrument for those who are already ready. He prepared it for those who are tired. And the one who is tired is you now. You are committed. You are commissioned. You are sent. You are committed. You are commissioned. You are sent. You are committed. You are commissioned. You are sent. Before I release you, I want you to walk with me to a room you have not yet seen with your physical eyes. Do not force it. Just let the image arrive. There is a long table. Light comes from somewhere you cannot identify, a light with no single source, the way light has no source in dreams. There are people at the table. Some you have loved, some you have not yet met, some you knew before this life. The faces are not strange to you. They feel like family, even those you cannot place. And there is a chair near the head of the table, empty. The shape of you is carved into it. The wood remembers you. The seat has been waiting. Solomon is at the head of the table. He was also waiting. You are not creating this scene. You are remembering it. This room has existed since before you arrived in this life. The chair was always yours. No one was permitted to sit in it. It was only you. Don't say amen yet. Sit in this for a moment. Feel the weight of what just happened. The peace in this room is not the absence of sound, it is the presence of a verdict. Now you may say amen, and that chair you just saw, it is your reality. I want you to hear something before you close this video, because there's a phrase the adversary will whisper in your ear in the next 3 hours. I'll name that phrase now so you don't fall for it. But before the phrase, there is something you need to receive. What was sealed here now will be tested tomorrow morning. And remember the permission you received just a few minutes ago. You have permission for this. You do not need to be ready. You do not need to deserve it any more than you do right now. Solomon did not prepare this instrument for those who have arrived. He prepared it for those who are here. The code of Solomon's wisdom is waiting for you in the first pinned comment, right below here. With the ritual of the righteous sleep and the 7 morning decrees, for less than a coffee and pastry at the bakery. Because a keeper of the declared peace without cover will be tested by the next exhausted morning. And the adversary is counting on that morning arriving. This is not an expense, it is an instrument. And Solomon prepared it for you to cross what is coming with a firm hand, not an empty one. With a 7-day guarantee, the risk is ours, the hand is yours. Click now while the decree is still alive in your chest. Not tomorrow, not after a shower, not after you speak to someone, because the first person you speak to will have a reasonable opinion that will cost you the instrument. Because whoever leaves it for later, leaves it for never. And the adversary already knows this. The phrase is, you can get this tomorrow. He will whisper this when you feel the first wave of peace tonight, because that is the exact moment the echo of combat needs to pull you back. He will not say, don't get it. He will say, you can get this tomorrow. Because he knows that tomorrow is where you have always lost. Today now, before the next morning arrives, not after, today. And Solomon will uphold it with you. And now, the last word of this video. In the next word I bring to this channel, I am going to speak about the 3 foundations of the House of Peace. Now that the war is over, the construction begins. Whoever heard this word today needs to hear that one in sequence. Click on the video that is appearing on your screen now. What comes next is not a continuation. It is a deepening. And when this happens, and it will happen soon, you will remember this moment. And before you go, think of one specific person, not many. One. The person whose name just arrived in your mind. The person who has been silent, faithful, unseen. The person whose anointing has also attracted attacks that have no name. Someone who has been coming home carrying a weight that is not theirs. Someone who needs the same sealing you just received. Send this video to them. They are waiting for this word to arrive. And when that person opens this video, they will need what you have just received, including the instrument that Solomon left. It might be what opens their cycle too. The link for the code is still in the first pinned comment, waiting just as it waited for you. It is not a favor you do, it is service. And heaven sees. To seal what has been done here, comment below, Amen received. It is done. What was delivered here has been delivered. You are not the same person you were when you pressed play. You are deeply loved. You are never forgotten. The chair is yours, and so it is sealed. The next morning can wait 10 more seconds.